So today's 10-minute tactic is on marketing sequence. It's not a term that you hear a lot about, but even if you've got the right strategies or the right pieces in place, but you have them in the wrong sequence, in the wrong order, it can really devastate your results. So I want to talk to you specifically right now about a conversation I had about a week ago, probably 6 or 7 days ago, with a client. She was one of the first 4 people to sign up on a particular webinar, and so I was sitting down with her, helping her out. She was an English lady who's moved to the US, and a really big, clear, obvious theme came up. And here was the theme. I don't know about you, but she was taught that the way that when you're sitting in a sales appointment or on the phone with a sales prospect, the way you sell your coaching is to ask a bunch of diagnostic questions, probe around, find a problem or find the pain, and solve it. Cool. So if you've done any sales training, there's a lot of that. Ask good questions, find the pain, dig for the pain is often how it's languaged, and solve it. And so you know what? That's a great way to sell. Finding the pain is a really good way to sell. And so what had happened was she was really good at going into a company. If she was invited in, she could find a bunch of things to work with if she had some time with them and actually identify some problems that needed solving that were important enough and costly enough that it was worth them investing in and make that happen. But the problem was this. She was deadly once she got into the organization, but the marketing she was using wasn't getting her in the first place because, in large part, her marketing was trying to market the way she was selling. In other words, it was going in, the marketing was asking questions and being vague and looking for things to work with instead of starting with things to work with. Does that make sense? So here's the big idea. Don't market how you sell. In sales, it's great to ask open-ended questions. In marketing, it's good to be a whole lot more direct. So today, I really want to talk to you about the difference between diagnostic selling and declarative selling. My friend Matt Church coined this term a couple of years ago, and it's stuck with me ever since. Diagnostic is asking questions. Declarative is starting with already with the answers or the problems in mind and declaring those out. So one's kind of ask and one's a little bit tell. So if you don't get this right, here's what happens. You ask a bunch of questions in your marketing, so your marketing feels weak and it doesn't pull. It's like having a dog whistle that you're blowing as loud as you can, giving it everything you got, and just nobody responds. So your marketing is weak and doesn't pull. And then when you go to sell, if you're selling the way you market, with a lot of tell, then people are resistant and they don't convert. Does that make sense? So if you've got to market the way you market, and you've got to sell the way you should sell. But the problem happens when you cross them over. When you get this wrong, then in a sales appointment, what you get is you get objections, you get excuses, and you get stalls. People saying, oh, thanks so much, that was really good information. Let me think about it, or I need to talk to my wife, or giving you all sorts of reasons, or maybe I need to go talk to some referrals, or you know what, this is really good, and in 3 months' time, I'll be ready. Objections, excuses, and stalls. If you get this right, what happens instead is this. When you market your message out there, people's ears prick up because they connect with your message and they go, oh my goodness, that is talking to me. That's the number one response you want. You want 90% of the market saying, oh, that's not for me. But for the right person, the premium, the ideal client, you want their ears to prick up, their eyes to get really big and say, oh my goodness, this person is speaking exactly to me. Like a lot of business owners talk about when they read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber for the first time. They feel like Michael was a fly on the wall sitting behind their desk watching them, right? That is talking to me. So in the marketing, they go, that is talking for me. In the sales appointment, they go, it sounds like you can really help me. Please, now I've told you all my stuff. You know about what's going on. How can you help? And it gives them conversion confidence, the feeling that they are certain enough and confident enough to be able to take the very first step. Is this making sense? So number one, the marketing gets them to say, that's talking to me. You ask the right questions and they go, oh my goodness, well, now you know everything about me. How could you help me? And then at the end, when you lay out your system, they feel confident and comfortable to purchase. So I want to tell you that there's kind of really 3 stages to an education-based marketing process. There's tell, and there's ask, and there's show. And it's really important that you get them in this order. Let me quickly explain. The traditional sales process is an ask-based process where you're digging for pain and finding problems. But like we said before, if you put the ask up front, you don't convert because people are busy. You need to almost poke them in the eye with the problem or the outcome they most want up front, so they even know to pay attention. So if you ask first, you miss out. If you If you get in the sales appointment and all you do is tell, then they tune out. But what most coaches miss out on is the show. So I want to tell you about how to tell in your marketing, how to ask in your sales, and how to show what your system looks like. Let's get started. 3 key principles for today. Principle number 1 is to promote a problem. In your marketing, you've got to be a whole lot more declarative around your marketing. So we talked about diagnostic versus declarative. Here's what I mean specifically. I want you to pick one person and one problem, and in your marketing, I want you to stomp all over that problem. So they read this thing and they go, oh my goodness, that's talking to me. It's like having a, here in New Zealand, we were watching the telly the other day. We haven't watched TV for like 4 or 5 years. And there was an ad for, what's it called? This acne, I can't even remember what it's called. It's this kind of pimple cream for teenagers. And it just starts with a problem. It's basically, it just shows pictures of pimply kids looking nervous with their acne, with kind of their pimple face, right? It starts with the problem. Here's the thing. When you ask, it's really good at uncovering the problem, but it's lousy at getting you in the door in the first place. So diagnosing is great for sales, but declaring is perfect for marketing. Wyatt Woodsmall famously said that when you can articulate a person's problem better than they can, they automatically and unconsciously credit you with knowing the solution. So in your market, you're going to pick one problem and you're going to hammer it. So a question for you. How clear are you about your prospects' top 3 problems? Principle number 2. Once we've got out of marketing into sales, your job is to diagnose their dysfunction. This is not about telling. This is about asking. It's about asking the key questions which will identify the gap between where they are and where they want to be, not just in the area of the situation, but the actual frustration or emotion it's causing, and the quantification or the measurement, the cost of not hiring you. So what are 3 questions you can ask that will have your prospects get naked and needy? That's exactly what you want. If you want, at the end of the diagnostic bit, you want to kind of flip the questions back to them and say, okay, great. So where do you think we should go from here? And what you want them to say is, okay, well, now you know a bit about me. How bad is it? What do you think I should do? Okay, you want your prospects to get naked, i.e. tell you exactly what the situation is and be raw, and needy, ask for your help. So we've done tell, we've done ask, and at the end, when they say, well, how can you help me? Then it's not just about, well, I can work with you for an hour a week and we have these conversations. People don't want to buy a conversation. They want to buy a system. So now we've done tell, we've done ask, we're into show. Principle number 3 is to step through your system. Sequence is everything. You need a signature system, a way that shows people how to get from their reality to the result they want, how to get from their problem to the promise. Okay, and that's your problem and your promise and the process that you take people through. It might be a 3-step system or a 5-step system or a 7-step system. Not too many steps, kind of anywhere between 3 and 7, 3 or 7 or 3 and 9 is perfect. You want to show people exactly, hey, if we were to do this, how does it actually work? It's almost like the first time I went to Subway sandwiches, kind of the Subway, those kind of foot-long meatball subs I think we used to get at uni. Yeah, the first time I went there, I was completely blown away because you walked in and they had a system. You walked in and you went bread, meat, cheese, salads, salt, pepper, cookie, drink, pay. And that was the system. If you've ever been there, you know exactly how it works, right? They had a system, and I was just blown away by, look, these guys have got a clear way to get you the result that you want. Kind of the result is healthy-ish food fast, right? So here's the thing. How clear is your signature system? When somebody says, well, how can we work together? Do you have a process to take people through? That's the question. Again, the process is tell and ask and show in that order every single time. Now, here's the thing. If you are selling one-on-one, then the ask is critically important. If you're selling one-to-many, a webinar or a workshop, you've still got to do the ask, but you do it in a group format. You notice in my webinars, there's a lot of questions asked. Chances of people to type in answers. If you're doing a live event, it's exactly the same. Tell, ask, and show in that order. I used to completely suck at sales. Completely sucked. The reason I got into marketing in the first place was because I was scared of selling. Then I learned about finding the pain, and that really helped in terms of increasing our conversion. But there wasn't enough leads in the first place, and it was really, really hard work. I often got pushback because people hadn't been, weren't primed or pre-sold before they came to me. The big idea, the big distinction that I learned that changed everything was this idea of tell first, then ask, and then show.